1953 was the most significant year in the history of English football, defined by two very different matches at Wembley. In May came perhaps the greatest final in the history of the FA Cup, a game that seemed to affirm all of the traditional values of the English game. And in November came a defeat to Hungary that exposed the reality. English football had fallen behind the rest of the world and desperately needed to evolve. The 1953 FA Cup final between Blackpool and Bolton Wanderers was anticipated like perhaps no other. Here, at last, was an opportunity for Blackpool's Stanley Matthews, by far the most famous footballer in the country, to win a medal. He was 38 years old. He'd been robbed of many of his best years by the war and had been on the losing side against Manchester United in the 1948 final. More than that, he seemed to exemplify all of the best traditions of English football. He was a winger, the wizard of the dribble, dedicated to beating his fullback and crossing for a big number 9. With 22 minutes to go, Bolton led 3-1. But with the Bolton left half, Eric Bell, injured, Matthews was gifted space on the right. He teed up a goal for Stan Mortensen, and then after Mortensen had completed his hat-trick to equalise with an 89th minute free kick, Matthews laid on the injury time winner for Bill Perry. Wembley was euphoric. The great cricket writer Neville Cardus, who'd been at Lord's that day for a rain-interrupted day's play between the Marylebone Cricket Club and the champion County Yorkshire, the traditional curtain raiser for the season, ran into hundreds of thrilled fans on the Metropolitan line back into London and wondered if this was the moment that football supplanted cricket as the national game. It was, of course, more right than he knew. Thousands of people invested in televisions for the coronation of Queen Elizabeth II in June of that year, and many got their sets early so that they could watch Matthews in the cup final. Only the second half was broadcast live on the BBC Light programme, but it proved so popular that commentary of every subsequent final was broadcast in full. The Matthews final was the first mass television sporting event in UK history, and it came at a moment of great national self-confidence. Rationing was coming to an end after the war, Everest was conquered by a British Empire expedition, the coronation seemed to herald a new age, but one in which Britain would still occupy a leading role. What was the victory of Matthews in what was still officially called the Empire Stadium, but proof that the English style of play had been right all along, whatever progress might have been made by continental powers. But then, on the 23rd of November, Hungary arrived for what was billed as the match of the century. They were unbeaten in 3 years and had won the 1952 Olympics in emphatic style. Although blessed with a number of great individuals, notably Ferenc Puskás, Sándor Kocsis, and József Bozik, their strength was their capacity to interchange positions without losing defensive structure. Playing what their manager, Gustav Szepes, termed socialist football, Hungary hammered England in the Empire Stadium. The game finished 6-3, but that was not a reflection of Hungary's superiority. The England centre-half, Harry Johnston, one of 4 Blackpool players in the England side, along with Matthews, Mortensen and Early Taylor, had no idea how to cope with Hungary's deep-lying centre-forward, Nándor Hidegkuti, who scored a hat-trick. Puskás humiliated the England captain, Billy Wright, with a drag-back in scoring the third. The message seemed clear. Modern socialist Hungary, with their team-based style, was the future, while moribund old Imperial England was the past. But as it turned out, it was a little bit more complicated than that. Hungary remained unbeaten until the 1954 World Cup final, in which, having gone 2-0 up, they then lost 3-2 to West Germany. The uprising in November 1956 exposed the divisions and dissatisfactions within communism, and by provoking a spate of defections, effectively ended the golden age of Hungarian football. England, meanwhile, were plunged into an unfamiliar period of soul-searching. Individualistic wing play had been revealed as hopelessly outdated, although it wouldn't be until 1965 that Matthews finally retired. Managers began experimenting with front pairings, and after Brazil had won the World Cup in 1958, back fours. But by the early 1960s, a new generation of coaches, the likes of Bill Shankly and Don Revie, were leading English football into a new world of systematisation. For the England national team, the most significant of them was Alf Ramsey, who'd seen firsthand how far English football had fallen behind, playing at right back against Hungary. So, just 6 months after achieving its peak, classic English wing play was finished. If you like this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. The Athletic is home to some of the world's best sports journalists, including David Ornstein, Daniel Taylor, Ollie Kay, Amy Lawrence and James Horncastle. With the latest transfer news and insight on every Premier League football story that matters, theathletic.com puts you inside football.